everybody. Welcome back to another session of the Hopry. My name is Mark Starr, and tonight I'm going to share a beer with you that I've been wanting to try for a very long time. This is from a brewery out of Portland, Oregon. It's called Hair of the Dog. Now, Hair of the Dog is a pretty small brewery. In fact, I think they only brew about 500 barrels of beer a year. So, you know, when you talk about craft breweries and you talk about some of the bigger craft breweries like Boulevard, Sierra Nevada, breweries like that, this is just a fraction of what some of those breweries can produce. So you're not able to get this beer or anything by Hair of the Dog in Kansas City. In fact, I don't know what the closest place is. I don't know if you can get it in Illinois or Colorado, but I doubt it. I know that they don't have, too big of a distribution area. So I was really excited to get my hands on a few different bottles of Hair of the Dog. I've actually got a couple more on the shelf back there that I'll share with you at a later date. But for some reason, this is the one I chose to go with first. It is called Hair of the Dog Adam. And the style of beer that Adam is, it's called a traditional ale or an old ale. And that really basically means that they don't have a category by today's standards to fit this into. So a traditional ale or an old ale is kind of a catch-all phrase that they use for beers that were brewed, long time ago that just really don't see a lot of time in breweries today. So really excited about what this one has to offer. I was reading the bottle before I started, and some of the flavors that they say come out in this beer or are supposed to come out really excited me. So it says the flavors in this beer have been compared to chocolate, smoke, leather, and figs. So I'll tell you what, man, that sounds pretty good to me. Well, let's go ahead and bust the cap on it and see what we got going on inside here. All right. So I'll get just enough in there to be able to swirl it around for a second. And now this one's been sitting out. I pulled this one out probably about 20-30 minutes ago. Because it's got a high alcohol on it, alcohol by volume, it's 10%. Really wanted to kind of let it warm up a little bit so I could pull out a lot of those flavors. Now I will tell you that this is it's called batch number 73. I know if you go on to Hair of the Dog's website, they actually have a running order of a lot of their beers in the batch numbers, and they tell you how long you should hold on to these beers before you drink it. One of the things that's kind of frustrating, though, is a lot of times they're asking you to hold on to these beers for 4, 5, 6 years. Well, you know what? I'm way too impatient for that, and it's not like this thing is going to suck today. So, well, at least I hope not. So, in terms of color on this one, it really reminds me of like cherry Dr. Pepper. It's got a really dark cola color, but there is some nice ruby red color in there as well. So it really kind of looks like cherry Dr. Pepper. And I would say the head is about the same color as well. Kind of a light tan color. It's really good and frothy in there. Let me see if I can get up and look over the top. Yeah, it's a pretty nice looking little head on there. Maybe a half a finger though, not a whole lot. And of course, when you start talking about 10% beers, hey, you know what, you're not going to get a lot of head. So let's go ahead and get our nose in there and give it a little smell and kind of see what's going on up in Portland, Oregon. I'm really excited for this. So yeah, definitely getting a lot of leather, like a brand new leather coat. There's a lot of chocolate in there as well. I do get the dark fruits like the figs, prunes. Man, this is a really complex beer. This reminds me a lot of like an Abbey style quadruple, where you just got a lot of richness to the aroma. I really like that leather smell though. It really smells like a nice, rich, leathery baseball mitt or like a jacket or something like that, and it's got that kind of nice smokiness as well. Really, really liking the way this one smells, and I'll be curious to see how it smells when it warms up just a little bit. I think this is probably still just a touch chilly, but it's going to probably take me a little bit of time to drink through this bottle. So I didn't want to have it too warm and then have it, by the time I got through it sitting at, 60 degrees. So, well, anyway, let me go ahead and give it a first sip here. Wow, is that good. And I think it's at just the right temperature too. I can tell that it's just slightly chilled. Wow, that thing is just, it's running laps in my mouth right now, just screaming. Boy, I'm telling you, I really like this beer a lot right off the bat. The mouthfeel on this thing is just absolutely stunning. There's a perfect amount of bitterness. There's almost like a chocolatey, sort of syrupy taste. And when I say syrupy, I don't mean sweet. It's more bitter than sweet, which I like. Definitely getting that smoky quality. This really reminds me of a beer that's been aged in some type of barrel, though from what I've gathered through doing research on this beer, there's no barrel aging in this beer, but I'll tell you, it's surprising that it's not. I just love everything about this beer. It's smoky, it's caramely, you get those dark fruits in there on the palate, so like your prunes and your figs, maybe some chocolate covered raisins, but there's that good bitterness in there that kind of cuts through all of that would-be sweetness in the beer. Getting a little bit of coffee at the very end. So, when you take a sip of a beer, you let it go down and you kind of smack your lips a little bit and kind of let the air get in. At the very end, you're kind of left with like that coffee aroma, coffee bitterness. This is a very, very enjoyable beer. And I've always been kind of fascinated with Hair of the Dog anyway, and I don't know if it's just because I'm kind of infatuated with Portland and always wanting to go to Portland, or if it's the fact that they brew just a small amount of beer, or if it's that their beer is kind of hard to get. Maybe it's their reputation. Hell, it's probably all of those things combined. But this is really stepping up to the plate for me. This is easily in the top 3 to 5 beers I've had this year. Just in terms of pure enjoyment, it's highly drinkable. There is an insane amount of flavor going on in here. The balance is up there with some of the best beers I've ever had. And overall, it's just a really intriguing beer. It's almost completely different than anything I've ever had, while at the same time remaining very, traditional and really, man. Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to go ahead and score this one for you guys right here. I'm not going to lie, this is pretty solid beer. It's tough to go, extremely high, but I really do like it. I'm going to have to probably go 98, 99 on this one. I'll make a final decision after I kind of sit down and drink through the rest of the beer, but it's definitely up there for me. This one will probably see my top beers of the year list. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sit here and finish it. And if you can go out anywhere, or if you can hook up a trade and you can get some Hair of the Dog, I know you can get it in places like New York, Southern California, Portland, obviously. If you can sync up with somebody to get a trade going, I highly recommend this beer. If their other beers taste anything like this, I would imagine they're all winners. But anyway, Thanks a lot for coming back. My name is Mark Starr, and we'll see you later. Bye.